That's good.
Okay.
Okay, then Lamed Tes.
Okay.
Mishnah, about 5 lines down.
Mhm. Let's see.
So back to Zeros. We were off for a couple of days about Tetim Staff Lisser and Zayis for the Chilas Pras and Tam Keika. We had different sugis. Now, Stam Nazir Shloshim Yom. This we know, this is old news. We had this same Mishnah, these few words we had in Daf Hey, that Stam Nazir is 30 days. There was happening to be Machlokus over there, it's really 29 or 30. That was Machlokus. But here it brings it down because of the Din Giluach over here. We know that only Tumah is what the pasuk says, that it takes down the Yom Rishonim Yiflu. You have to start all over again. But we said if someone drinks wine, even though he's Chayv Malchus, he did an Avera, but it doesn't start the Nazirus again. He doesn't stop the. It did say a Knas that if somebody drank wine, so then we make him keep the days, as many days as he didn't, or maybe 30 days. Here it talks about if he took a haircut. It doesn't say the Torah took a haircut, they have to start all over again. That says by Tumah. Listen, the other Mishnah says that if you took a haircut, and even if it wasn't his fault, you'll listen that the robbers did it, whatever their issue was. That means that it was he was forced to, they did it onus. Still, he doesn't lose the whole Nazirus, but he has to do 30 days over again. The Mishnah doesn't explain why. Soser means he undoes. Oscroll translates that he forfeits. I don't think it's a good translation, but it means that he loses the 30 days. The interesting machlokus of him, machlokus Rishonim, Taisha says he just needs, the point is that he needs 30 days hair growth. But at the end, he has to, when he cuts his hair, he has to have 30 days hair growth. Right. So it's not really Soser, it's not Soser or anything, but he has to make sure that he should have 30 days hair growth. And the Rambam seems to say that all the days that he's really Soser, that it doesn't count. That so those days that he's
not starting again. He just has to count
30 days more. But there's a machlokas Rishonim what the Lambda says. Is it because those days don't count? The days, 30 days probably means 30 days after the haircut don't count, and he has to be mashlim. Or at the end he has to have 30 days hair growth. Means it would be manaf kamina if he made a big nazirus, 100 days, and he took a haircut after in the middle someplace. But he's going to have anyway 30 days hair growth by the time he comes to the end. Right. So according to this, that's the only point. The only point is he should have 30 days of growth when he finishes. According to the Rambam, those 30 days don't count. You have to subtract 30 days. Not that he has to start all over again, but he has to subtract 30 days if he took a haircut in the middle.
What if it wasn't hiluch, but it was was half cut?
So this is the Mishnah continues now. What does it mean to be cut? Nazir Shigir, it could be a new Mishnah. This really could be a new Mishnah. That's why I put to where a nazir that used scissors, a zug is a scissors, a zug means a pair of scissors, or a tar is a razor, there's only one blade, or sifsei. So sifsei, Rashi here says, and that's what seems to be the Shatolish Ksas Pirosha said, just take off the tips of the hair. He didn't take out the whole hair, just took off the tip. He snipped the tip of the hair. That's sifsei. And just to point out that it's a different word than the word pispase. That's going to be the next mission. There's a chofta from a fast face. Pispase and sifsei is two different words, even though both have a pei and a samach. But this is samach pei, and the other one's going to be pei samach. This word sifsei means that he just took out the tips of the hair. Tais over here says different pshat, but l'chari this is the more pasha than maybe according to the word that sifsei means taking out, snipping the edges of the hair. So here it says that what does it mean to take a haircut? The edges of the hair is also chayiv. It doesn't talk about it. That's called what he left over. In the case before that a gilach, maybe we'll say that if he has a certain amount of hair left over, that's good. We'll see the Gemara soon. But here it says a new Mishnah, a regular nazir that is chayiv for cutting his hair. What does it mean he has to cut his hair? So even if he uses a razor, surely, even if he uses a scissor, and even if he just cuts off the edges, the tips of the hair, also it's chayiv. The word kolshu, some could mean even one hair. And also kolshu would mean this last word, sifsei, kolshu, even if you just tipped off the tip of the hair, that's also even a mashu, and he has plenty of hair left. The long hair still is chayiv.
Talash is much more that it's the yad, not the.
Where does it the word talash? Talash. I'm not sure because we're gonna have later on talash and morad. Later on we're gonna have morad. Talash and morad. They say morad means and talash just means did it by hand. But I don't know if it makes a difference if it does it by hand or he does it with the scissors. The point is that's what we say. There's no difference if it's a kli or by hand. But the hit, that means the tip of the head, the tip long. He has long hair, 20 inches long.
Not near the scalp.
Not near the scalp.
Away from the scalp.
But Rosh Hashanah, not yeah, that's for sure. I mean, if it doesn't say it over here, then it says it in the Aruch, which is the, and he brings on. But the Aruch says that it means the edges of the hair. And now what? I closed it already. I had it open the Aruch, but the Aruch says that it means the edges, and it just fits very well. Okay. So that's the Mishnah. The whole two Mishnahs over here. One point is that if he
And he's
got
gonna be,
it-
excuse me, high for 30 days.
no, here talking about for cutting his hair. Then when someone does a drinks, he's high malchus. If another takes a haircut, also he's high malchus. What's high malchus for? Even no difference if it's a razor or a scissor or even just cutting off the edge of the hair. Also, he's high. Maybe even one hair. Maybe
And
even
the
one. Hair.
listing is an onus, right?
Right.
Okay.
I don't know what kind of robber it is that he's interested in cutting somebody's hair. I'm not sure what the what.
No, we had in the show where the Nazis.
Yeah, but that
cut
wasn't
hair.
that's not a listing. That's the Bimashami. That's not the regular case of a listing.
Okay.
But that's the point here, that it was onus, that they cut his hair by onus. So that's okay. So,
There he'd have to grow it, but he wouldn't be high.
right, he didn't do it, right.
Yeah.
So the first part of the mission is talking about how it affects his full count, how it affects his full count.
Uh-huh.
And it says that even if it was bonus, he has to get another 30 days. We mentioned the Chokes Rishonim, according to Tosfos, it just means to get 30 days of hair growth at the end.
Mhm.
And let's say he had 15 days left, whatever, so he'd have to do just 15 more.
Right.
And the Rambam says that all the days that 30 days of the count goes off because he had a haircut. Machlokes Rishonim how to learn this mission. And then it
Plus
said,
30 no matter how many are left.
right. And then another mission which talks about the regular din of a nazir, that he's chayiv malchus for cutting his hair, no difference if it's a razor, a scissor, or just cutting off the edge. Now the Gemara goes into a very interesting Gemara about physiology of hair growth. How does hair grow? Everyone knows the answer. Does hair grow from the scalp
Or
or from the top of the hair? The hair keeps on growing. The scalp stays the same, and the hair grows out of the hair. Does the hair get bigger, or does it come out of the scalp? If you have a long, you'd say for sure, what's the question? So that's what the Gemara was going to say also at the end. That it grows out of the scalp, that you have the root of the hair, which is producing, and the tip of your hair is going to go further and further away because there are two choices. The other choice is going to be that whatever hair you have stays at the root, and if it grows, it's just the top of the hair is extending more and more, but the bottom stays the bottom. So you'd say, what's the question? The Gemara also says, what's the question? And the Gemara is going to go through some proofs that just to say why it's not a proof, why it is a proof. The Gemara is going to come out at the end that surely it grows from the bottom. See, the Gemara starts, and also the Gemara is going to say why it's relevant for us to notice something to do about Hilchas Nazirus. Hi, Mazia. The word Mazia means hair. Hi, Mazia. Mula Tachas Rabbi or Mula El? The word Rabbi is to grow. Tachas is the bottom, Lael is the top. So there's hair grow from the bottom, as we would say, or does it grow from the top? Does it grow from the top of the hair? That it gets longer and longer, but it doesn't come out of the bottom of the head from the scalp. So first we want to know what's it relevant. The mind of community, what will be the difference? So the Gemara is going to throw something at us that we didn't expect. The nazir shegilchu listen v'shiru bo k'dei lochav rosho likro. If somebody cut his hair, it doesn't really make a difference if he did it or they did it, but his hair was cut, and they left over a minimum amount of hair that's called k'dei lochav rosho likro, long enough that we find there's another place also in the Mishnayos that what's considered significant hair growth, enough that you should be able to bend the top of the hair to the bottom. How big is that? I don't know. It depends what you're using. Are you using
roots, so
to bend the top of the hair till the bottom. So I don't know what kind of tool you're using. Are you using your fingers or big fingers, or are you using some little tool? I don't know what it means. I don't know what tool are you using in order to bend it over. If you use some tiny tweezer, so if you use a big capacity, very big,
saying like Pepsi message instead of message.
right?
No matter how small you get, in theory you'd be able to do
No,
it.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying that how are you turning it over? With what utensil?
Or with a finger, or yeah.
So I don't know what the shear is, but that's called a shear that is big enough to be able to be turned to the bottom, the top of the. So here it says, if they left, his hair was cut during his nazirus, but they left over a little bit. What's the nafkamina? If you say that it grows in the bottom,
What's Rabbi?
Rabbi is to grow, like it says here in the question. Rabbi, you see this word? Rabbi. Here also the word Rabbi means to grow. So if you say the bottom. Zeros, Shakle, took away the zeros. That means that the growth that he had at the top of his hair, even though let's say he had 10 inches of hair, let's say, let's say centimeters. He had 10 centimeters of hair. And let's say was 1 centimeter. So they left the bottom centimeter of his hair. But they cut off the top of his hair, the 9 centimeters on top. That was the nazirus that when he accepted himself to be a nazir, that's what he had on his head. The Gemara is throwing a new thing at us, so we don't know. There's some significance that he should have the hair that he consecrated when he said, I'm a nazir. When he said, I'm hereby a nazir, he has hair on his head. It's as if he's consecrating that hair. And now that they cut it, so they cut off the hair that he had consecrated. If you say that the new hair is growing from the bottom, nazirus hashakle, they took away the nazirus that he had consecrated. Shakle means to take. They took away his nazirus, and therefore what? He's going to have more days. What if you say that the hair grows from the top, but the bottom stays the bottom? My doctor shall claim that when the hair that he had consecrated, that 1 centimeter that remained on the bottom, that's enough significant hair of the original hair. Am I making sense?
Mhm.
It means the Gemara tells us the Gemara doesn't even explain to us that there's a big yesod that he has to have the original hair, and if the original hair, and then the original hair,
If it's still there,
if it's still there, it's
because
good
it
enough.
grows from the top, so the original
If
is
it's
still
no, if it goes from the top, then right. If it goes from the top, then the original is still there on the bottom,
there. And
that's good enough for some reason. Whatever that means, that's good enough. That's fine. Then it's not so sad.
That
That was the hair. That was the hair that he was mekadesh. That he consecrated his hair,
but we know
and
you're
he
not
still
allowed
have
to
the
cut
original
your
hair. What?
But you're not allowed to cut your hair.
He wasn't allowed. Somebody else did it. But now, even I'm talking about he's allowed to do it now. I'm talking about does he have to start again? Does he have to do more again? So if he has his original hair, that significant amount, they'll be happy. So if it's only growing from the top, but the original hair that he has is still there, so we'd be happy. But if it grows from the top,
From the bottom,
up from the bottom, and now that original hair is now further up, and they cut that off. The original now he has on the bottom 1 centimeter left. That's new hair. That wasn't the hair that he had when he made Saddam Nazir. They cut off that hair because it grew up, and now even though they left a centimeter on the bottom, that's new hair that grew afterward. So we're not. That's not good enough. You'd have to do something about it. I don't know what he's going to do. He's not going to be able to get that original hair back no matter what he does. So that's the question. But the Gemara sees some significance in having the original hair that when he said I'm a Nazir. I don't understand yet. I'm not going to understand later either. But this is how the Gemara first presents the two sides of why it's relevant to us to know how hair grows. Now the Gemara is going to go to figure out physically, that's the scientific fact. How does hair grow? We'll come back again to what the Gemara says in Afkamina is halachically. Tashma. So the Gemara says we don't have to go to the laboratory to make a test. We already have tests because everybody knows that lice knits. The nits, not the lice, but the nit. The nit is the egg of the louse that you find by the base of the hair.
yeah.
It's always by the base.
It's always by the base of the hair, even though it grows, it still keeps the base of the hair. Isn't that amazing? Why does the nit stay by the base of the hair? Why shouldn't, as the hair grows, the nit should also go up higher, and it doesn't? What do you say to that?
The knit is what?
The nit
egg?
is the egg of the louse.
It's the egg,
It's the egg. That's what a nit is.
and it stays at the
It
bottom.
stays by the bottom next to the scalp always.
I don't know. What is-
So, what?
I
So-
don't have an answer.
You don't have an answer.
No.
But you know that the hair grows from the bottom, from the scalp.
And so is at the bottom of the hair.
And the nit always stays by the bottom of the hair. It's
Wait,
very
wants
surprising.
new hair?
Even though the hair is growing.
But the egg can't walk or anything.
So it's a kasha. So why is the egg by the base? It seems that the hair is growing from the top.
Uh-huh. I see.
The Gemara thinks as Tashma we have inva chaya, a live nit. Inva is a nit, and chayim live nit. They all you put some kind of chemical. People do. They want to kill the nits, but it's going to be a dead nit. Sometimes a live nit. It can't be ikva de benisa. The root benisa means in here that it's always there by the root, by the bottom, by the bottom of the hair.
The knit isn't an egg.
The nit is an egg. The nit is an egg.
They're dead eggs and live
yes,
eggs.
they're live, yeah. If you put common chemical on it, it's going to become dead. That's what they want to do sometimes.
Oh, okay.
Let's talk about a live knit. A live knit, the Gemara knows that the live, that's the introduction. The Gemara knows the fact. The live knits are by the base of the scalp,
Yeah.
and the dead knits are on the top. As the hair grows, it goes further away.
Okay.
So the Gemara says, let's start with the live knit, that it's always by the base of the hair. The hair is growing from the scalp. The knit should be by the top of the hair, not by the base of the hair.
What's the binsa?
Beneath says here.
The what?
Here, Hair.
Binsa? Okay.
Other places it's pronounced Benisa with another yud, but here it does have one yud. You see that the live knit is by the base of the hair. If the hair grows from the bottom, from the scalp, then it should always be by the top of the hair. So that's a proof that the hair grows from the top, and that's why the knit stays on the bottom. The Moshe says no, it's not a proof. It could be really the hair grows from the bottom. So why doesn't the knit keep on advancing with the hair? Because the knit goes down. Means the knit has some physical power. Means even though it's not a live louse with feet, but it stays by the base of the hair, even though the hair is growing and coming out. Still, the knit is still going to be by the bottom.
Like
So-
saying out there.
What?
It's like saying
How can you
Right.
say because it gets its nourishment from the base, from the.
I thought chiyusa means because it's alive. You're saying because it wants to get nutrition. Could be.
From the scalp.
The reason that it wants to be near the scalp. So Hashem made that it should be able to stay near the scalp, even though the hair is growing. It continuously walks backwards,
Even though it's
against-
from the.
even though it's going to the bottom and the hair's getting
Right.
going bigger. So if it just would stay in a stationary place, it would get further. Every week you'd see it further and further. It keeps on going down to the scalp. Like it's walking against the escalator. But Tashma, in Mesa, a dead knit that we find, the ratio the mini, so we find that it's by the tip of the hair. It's not by the base of the hair, it's by the tip of the hair. That sounds like the hair is growing from the bottom. If the hair grows from the top, the tip of the hair extends more and more, but the base stays the same. The dead knit should remain by the scalp. Why do we see that the dead knit is by the tip of the hair? The opposite proof. The Gemara says no, it's also not a proof. Because it doesn't have any strength. It's a dead knit. It slips down. It means that it's dead, and it doesn't stay in the same place. It doesn't hold on to the place that it is. It's loose enough that it'll slide, even though the hair, it really technically stay in the same place. Nothing's pushing it. If the hair is growing from the base, then it gets pushed out. But if the hair is growing from the top, so why doesn't it just stay in its place? The answer is because it's not strong enough to stay in its place, and it slides as the hair gets longer. It slides down the hair, even though it could have stayed in the same place if it would be seizing on. So the Gemara shows these 2 points: a live knit and a dead knit, and we find the 2 different positions. The live knit is by the base of the hair, and the dead knit is by the tip of the hair. And there seems to be a contradiction. So you have to say one of them is different, either because the live knit keeps on going down towards the base, or the dead knit, even though it could have stayed there, but it slides down to the tip, so we don't have a raya from neither the live knit or dead knit. We still don't know how the hair grows. Tashma goyim. So this kushim is a censorship. And now it happened. Kushim. It means the ponytail of the goyim.
The braid.
The braid of the goyim.
The braid of the shorts, they all have.
Right. And I thought of that also, but this really does a censorship.
Okay.
And really the Gisha should be goyim. And usually you find it above the Zara that they had a bloris. Nowadays they call the bloris just a ponytail. That's what they call nowadays. Chup, they call the bloris nowadays in Hebrew. I'm not sure how Hebrew uses it. But there was some kind of braid, as you say, a braid of the goyim, the braid of the goyim. The Jews didn't have braids. I'm not sure. Kiliyasa, Beniyasa, they had, but you look at these Goyisha braids, they brought to the Megadluna, after they braid, the word Megadlun is here means to braid. It doesn't mean that they grow it. You don't grow it, but it means that they braided their ponytail, whatever. So, you see that the bottom of the base, it gets loose. It doesn't stay tight. They make a tight braid, and then after a while, the bottom gets loose. The Gemara thinks that's a proof that the hair is coming out. New hair is coming from the bottom. If the hair would stay the same, and only the top of the hair would be growing, so then the bottom of the base should stay a tight braid. Why do you find that the bottom of the base of the braid gets loose? Must be that hair is growing from the bottom. It must says not a proof. How's it not?
From the bottom?
It must be it's growing from the bottom.
From the top.
You're
I
saying
thought
right.
the fact that it got loose and that
Where
it's
does
new
it
growth.
get loose? Where's the new growth? By the base, by the coming out of the scalp.
Oh, that base?
What are the two bases? The
I
base.
thought that it meant that at the end, I see the base. I thought.
Maybe I'm saying the wrong way. The base, I mean, up and the tip of the
Near
braid
the
would be
scalp, it gets loose. Oh, yeah,
Right.
I was so.
Near the scalp.
visualizing wrong.
near the scalp, it gets loose.
So
Must be new hairs
because
over
it
there.
must
It's
be
going
loose,
here.
yeah,
If the new hair is going from the tip by the far end of the hair, so then over
Oh,
there
near
you
the
get
top,
you should see
I
loose hair.
Yeah, from the base, okay.
The one doesn't say doesn't speak up. That's the right that it's from the
But
bottom.
that's new, yeah, that's.
That's the
getting
new hair.
from-
That's why it's loose. It hasn't been braided.
Yeah.
That's new hair growing. Hasanami, I did the kamata, whatever. Didn't rafia. So the gear says a little something out the dollar. Maybe this dollar is a mistake. Rafia or he the rafia, put in the word he the rafia. So the way the Mepharshim explain is that since the person lies on it, that's the way. That's what gets it loose. Not because it's new hair. It's the same old hair. But when you lie, when he lies on his head, so that's what loosens the braid.
And it's not a proof that it really grew from that.
Right, really it stayed the same. The bottom would be stationary. There's new hair growing at the tip. The reason why it gets loose is because he lies on it. I don't get the exact wording. The word mata usually means to reach, and shikva, mishikva, the word is hard, mishikva from lying. I'm not sure.
From lying?
Rafia, shikva, they say shochev that he lies on his head. I don't get the word so well, but that's the idea. The Gemara is saying that even if it doesn't grow up in the bottom, it also is going to loosen because of some outside factor.
What did you say contour was?
The word mata, I'm not sure what the word is, kamat,
Oh,
the kamata.
did
The word
come
mata
up.
alone, mem tes aleph means to reach. Higia. I'm not sure if that's how it's meant to be understood. The kamata, that it is reaching, I'm not sure. Or kamta, the word kamat means usually folding. I'm not sure the exact translation of what. Okay, but that was a proof from the braids that get loosed by the base near the scalp, and there's not a raya because it could be that there's the same hair,
Mhm.
just that it got loose from
the movement of
Movement,
the
yeah,
head
yeah.
rubbing.
Tashma,
Lying down.
missikrasa. Sikrasa means like red paint. Now we're talking about sheep. There's no difference between the hair on the head or hair of the sheep. If it grows the same way. And over there you see that when you put red paint onto the sheep, the rafi imra melotachas, that the wool on the bottom becomes loose. So the Mepharshim explained that the red paint, besides being red, the Gemara could have spoken about the red color, that you see red color, and if you would
If you keep
put
going, if you wait a long.
if you wait, you'll see that there's going to be white here
under.
at the bottom, not white on top.
Yeah.
You're not going to see that
That's
that
what I
stays.
mean.
It'll be a nice proof. It doesn't talk about the color, talk about the stiffness that the paint makes the hair all stiff together. And then when it goes new, as you leave it there for a week or two, so then you'll see the bottom is loose. The hair under the painted area is loose, not the hair on top is loose. That means that the new hair grew from the bottom. The more thinks it's a good proof. They say that the word also Vitanya, but it's a mistake. The word Vitanya is a mistake. Someone changed Vitanya to Vitanan, but the whole thing seems to be a mistake, and the Kisviana doesn't have it. The best thing is to just take it out. Take out the word Vitanya. The Su, and another proof that also from the color, Katsavi Sabaya Diknehon, when the old people dye their beards, the Gemara didn't have other dyes for the hairs, only the old people wanted.
Diknehon
A
is.
dikna is a zikna, the dikna, the dollar and the zayin interchangeable, the zakan. Sabai is the sabim, the old people, which we're not allowed to
Their
do.
beard.
Their beard, right?
Yeah.
Avron ikvi nimehum. The bottom of the hairs become white. Means that as time passes, the dyed area gets further away from the face because the hair is growing from the root. So the Gemara brings these two proofs. One is that hardened hair that got clumped together from the paint, the bottom gets loose, and also the color. The Mepharshim say that it could have brought it right from the red paint also. That it's only red on the top, and the bottom, as it grows, becomes white because that's new wool that's coming out of the body. So Shramina Tachas Rabbi Shramina. We came to the conclusion that we knew already that the hair grows out from the scalp. And now the Gemara goes back to the beginning. What was our question? We had enough Kimin Gabi Nazir. That by Nazir, they cut his hair, enough to be able to overturn the hair, bend the hair over. So if you hold that it grows from the bottom, so he cut off all that hair. Even though you have some hair left on the bottom, but they cut off the real hair, they cut off the original hair.
The sanctified.
So what?
The sanctified.
The sanctified hair is now cut off, and then problem. He has to do it again. But the Gemara says, I have a brisa that says the other way. The Gemara didn't tell us that I had a brisa in his back pocket the whole time about this same question. The question we said is an afkamina. The Gemara is a brisa that says openly, that there's no problem. If they cut his hair, but they left this minimum amount on the bottom, so he just continues. He could just go ahead. So according to your fact, if you think the way you just finished proving that it goes from the bottom, listor, it should be sosa. That's the Gemara's kasha. A brisa against the fact that the fact is that it goes from the bottom, and the brisa says that it's not sosa. If it goes from the bottom, it should be sosa because the hair that was there at the time of the sanctification, that's what off. The Gemara answers, this brisa is only talking about if they cut his hair after the 30 days. It was finished. The 30 days already was finished. If he would have cut his hair during the 30 days, then he has to do another 30 days, it seems. But the brisa here is talking about that he cut after the 30 days. He had 30 days. He was a full nazir. And we had sometimes, as far as the tumah, also there's not communicated by the tumah. If he becomes tummy after the 30 days, how much does he have to start again? So here it's going to be a machlokas. We had once upon a time. He goes to go lachamalos. Umani yobelezahi. The amma lachamalos shiva. Rabbi Eliezer says that he becomes tummy. Rabbi Eliezer seems to say that once you finish the 30 days, even if he became tummy, let's say if someone became tummy, we're talking about he got a haircut after 30 days. What if he became tummy after 30 days? Does he start everything all over again or not? So over there, Rabbanan seemed to say he has to do 30 days again. He doesn't have to do the whole zeros over again because it's achamulos, but he has to do at least 30 days. And Rabbi Eliezer says he doesn't have to do 30 days at all. This goes back to a long time ago. I think that page. And over there, it's really, no, it's the third paragraph. This we had two times. We had the Mishnah, we had the Gemara before earlier. We had the Gemara on that prayer, and the Mishnah was on that Lamed Gayet or something like that. Tezayin, I'm sorry. On Tezayin. So the way we learned very simple. That the contract was if he became tummy after 30 days, so it doesn't affect him at all. He has a full count, everything's fine. The point is, he has to be torn in order to bring his karbanos. So he has to wait 7 days in order to have the May Katas should be sprinkled on him on the 3rd and 7th day. He goes to the mikvah, now he can go on to the Beis HaMikdash. But it didn't affect his naziris at all. But what's the din if somebody becomes tamei after 30 days?
Okay, you're not talking about cutting the hair right.
Right. First, we're going to learn out. The Gemara is going to say we're going to learn out from the din of becoming tummy after 30 days. Here, the Gemara is saying the first thing the Gemara says that in order to answer the kasha that the haircut that he got over here was after the 30 days. It says in the second and third line, it says a nazir that got a haircut and they had left over. So that was the kasha because we said that it grows from the bottom. You cut off the sanctified hair, you'd have to do it again. Then the 30 days, at least 30 days again. That was the kasha. The answer is you're right. That it happened in the middle of this again, but here the case is that it was cut. The haircut was after the 30 days. So what? So here it brings down Rabbi Eliezer. This machlokas earlier in the Masechta. If somebody became not tummy, I was going over the tumah, not about a haircut. Someone became tummy after the 30 days. The Rabbanan say he has to do another 30 days, and Rabbi Eliezer says he only has to do 7 days. The pashas in Rabbi Eliezer is that it's not a din at all. Really, he's 100% good. He did it in 30 days, everything's fine. Now he became tummy, it's technicality, and he has to wait 7 days because that's how long it takes to become Torah. No new halacha. It's another way of saying, excuse me, it's another way of saying end of sosa. But it says he's sosa 7 because Lamaisi has to wait 7 days in order to become Torah. But the Gemara is making a fancy halacha out of it, that there's a halacha of 7 days. He has to have a new 7 days. And the Gemara sees what's that all about. My time at the Rabbi Eliezer. Therefore, the Gemara is going to say that this 7 days also you have to have over here. By the Gemara says a fact, first of all, that when it says this new invention about the hair being long enough to be able to bend it back to the root is the amount of hair growth of 7 days. That's a 7-day hair growth. The Gemara is making a corresponding what it says over here that and this thing of Zion Soser is the same thing.
Uh-huh.
Maybe I'll highlight that.
But when he got his cut, it has nothing to do with tumor.
Nothing to do with them, but we're going to learn it out from
his
something.
Nazirus and his hair got cut.
Right.
He's not tummy.
He's not tummy. Not tummy. And we're going to learn out the same way. If he finishes 30, he became tummy, he has to wait 7 days.
Mhm.
If he finishes the zero, then his hair got cut, he also has to wait 7 days. And 7 days is the same thing. 7 days hair growth. That's how long hair grows in 7 days. And since
Yeah, but that's how much he has left. So he has.
what do you mean he has
7 days.
left?
It got cut, and yet there's still a 7-day
Growth.
amount of hair there.
Right. That's
So,
good enough.
so it seems like if it's there, then why would he have to go 7 days? That's what the fact that it bends over means that's 7 days.
That's why,
growth.
yes, you're right. That's why it says anosocin. That's why
Oh,
it
that's
says
why it says
anosocin.
anosocin.
But if he would not have growth, he'd have to wait until he has a 7-day growth.
Uh-huh.
Now, I don't understand anything because it's not his original hair anyway. Like, what is all this about? What is this? What? He doesn't. The original hair that it grows from the bottom, and the original hair is not here. So he has 7-day growth. What is a 7-day growth worth? It's new hair. You're never going to get that hair back. I don't get the whole Gemara. First of all, the Gemara told us he is sold without even explaining it to us, without even it was like how do you call it, a curveball or something like that? You know,
Yeah.
that they just threw at us that you have to have the original growth that was sanctified, when the growth which was the hair which was sanctified b'shas ma'aser. We never heard of that. Now the Gemara says it's a problem if you cut it off, you don't have it anymore. And then what's the eitzah? What do you do now? I don't know. How do you get it back? You never can get it back. To become a nazir again. So the Gemara thought you have to become a nazir again. It seems. And here the Gemara says sometimes it's enough to have 7-day growth. What's that? To have a 7-day growth is a Rebbe holds the same way when you become tamei. You have to wait 7 days, and over there it seems to be a technicality just to be able to become Torah. 3 and 7, you have to do mechatas. But the one knows that no, that's a din. That's a din of 7 days. Now here also there's going to be a din of 7 days growth.
Okay, but we're saying that the original hair was there during his Nazirus.
He got cut off.
Only after the 30 days it got cut off.
You're right, because he had it right. That's
So
true.
he had his original, just like the tumor.
He had it,
He
but
wasn't
now-
tummy during the 30 days,
Right,
and everything's
right.
fine.
Right,
He had his hair also, that was
Right.
fine too.
right. And now why are you telling him? Why are you telling him to? But now he lost. But now, yeah, right. It's true. But now after this 30 days, now he lost his hair.
Yeah.
So we say it's a problem. But you have to have the 7 days is enough. 7 days growth is enough.
Isn't the hair something you have to off down in this fail? So you have to have something.
So if you would, you have to have something.
I don't know, I'm just throwing.
And
it
here the
out.
Gemara is saying that it's enough to have 7 days there. In the Mishnah it says, I'm confused. Here the Mishnah says that if they got a haircut in the middle, the horror, he's supposed to lamad. He has to have 30 days, which sounds like you have to have 30 days growth.
They're just like tumor, that would work for everybody else.
But tomorrow will said 7 days.
No, in the middle.
In the middle, then
Everybody
yes,
would.
yes, everybody. In the middle, no. In the middle, then you have to. What do you mean? In the middle
30
of the
days.
Nazirus. In the middle of the Nazirus, he has to sows everything. If someone became tamei in the middle of the Nazirus,
Oh, you start all over. again,
All over
No matter
again.
what. Oh, I
if it was
see.
after
The
the
hair is
30 days,
different. Okay.
yeah, after the Nazirus.
I
So
see.
I really don't know the Pshat Gemara. I'm just saying what it seems to say. I don't understand what the kasha is based on. I don't know how the answer is answering the kasha. I'm just saying the words. And the Gemara says that really, if you, according to the Gemara's Maskana, the Rambam is not going to pass like this either. The Rambam is not going to go like this. Here the Gemara seems to say that if his hair would have been cut in
Less
middle of the Nazirus,
Mhm.
he has to do 30 days.
Uh-huh.
But here that it was Achamalos, that's when it's not Sosa, but you still have to have at least 7 days worth, 7 days hair growth left. And that goes according to Belezer. That says that you find when a person becomes Tamei, he has to wait 7 days. It was Achamalos. He finished the whole Nazirus, and then he became Tamei, he has to wait 7 days, which till now we learned that it's just technicality to become Torah. Now the Gemara is saying no, that you learn out 7 days. My Talmud of Belezer, Yalef Tiglachas Tar, Tiglachas Tumul. We learn out this case that we're cutting the hair, and he didn't become Tamei from a case where he's cutting, where he's going through the Torah process after he became Tamei, which over there means Tiglachas Tumah, Tiglachas Tumah. It means after we finish this Nazirus and he happened to become Tameh, so he has to wait 7 days, which seems to be a technicality. But the Gemara says no, not Tiglachas Tumah Shiva, Tiglachas Tara Shiva. Just like in the case where he became Tameh, he has to wait 7 days, which I'm putting in parentheses, which is only a technicality. The Gemara says no, also Tiglachas Tara, our case where he didn't become Tameh, but he got his hair cut, he has to at least have 7 days worth. And what does that have to do with Teilach of Rosh Lekro? Became Luli Rabbanan, called Shiva Yomin, Asya Mazia, Teilach of Rosh Lekro. The Rabbanan know the physical fact that in 7 days it grows enough here that he should be able to bend it back to its root. So these two things equal each other, and that's the reason why it's enough to have Teilach of Rosh Lekro.
What's Mazia?
Mazia means here.
No.
That's how the Gemara started off when I talked about Haim Mazia, the beginning of the Gemara. Haim Mazia, well, the Tachas Rabbi Yomalael. The Gemara talks there in Megillah, talks about that the Haman was a barber, talks about the hair over there, use the word Mazia a lot. So, just to chaz over the Gemara, just to say the Gemara, when that, what?
Binsa.
Benisa is a hair, and Mazia is also a
Oh,
hair.
Mazia, there it is, I see. Oh, right away. Okay.
It could be that the word Benisa means each individual here is called a Benisa, and Mazia means hair in general. Could be. I didn't look into that. But what do we have now? Just to sum it up. I don't understand. But just to sum it up, the Gemara comes out with the fact that we know that the hair grows from the bottom, from the base. That's where the hair grows from. And the Gemara says there's enough coming over here because by a nazir, if to cut his hair within his nazirus, he has to do another 30 days because the original hair is not there. But if they cut it after Malos, then it depends on Beleza and the Rabbanan. According to Beleza, it's enough 7 days because you learn out from the dinner. That 7 days in order to become Torah. Here too, he has to have 7 days of hair growth, which is Keilach of Rosh Likro. And if he has that left, it's enough. And according to Rabbanan, you have to have 30 days.
I have a side question.
Yes.
Not to spend a lot of time, but I thought that it was usher for men to dye their hair. So how
It
did-
is. It is.
So
So,
there's a beard.
and a beard is different.
No wash on a beard. Women don't have beards.
That's a huge chiddush. Is that what they
I
say?
know, that's what it was.
I thought it can mean even a goy. It didn't have to mean a Jew.
Well, we're talking about a beard.
Why are we talking about
Because
a
only
beard?
men do-
Because
only-
men dyed their beards.
And the hair you didn't
The
get.
first thing when we started this, I
Yeah,
thought,
it's always
all you have to
something
do is look at women who dye their hair. And they
Oh,
forget,
men are
you know,
allowed
1
to
month
dye
they're
it.
late and you see the roots that they're
No,
becoming
he says
gray.
So
Or
the
they're
women-
not the color, you know.
So the
I've
women
seen
did-
a girl, 20-year-old girl who has blonde hair and then she's got dark roots or vice versa.
Yeah, you're right. That's what the Gemara says. The
So
Gemara says.
isn't that-
But the Gemara, see why the women didn't dye their hair. Only the men dyed their hair.
I don't-
Only the men dyed their beards.
All hair was covered. All hair was covered by a man.
By- oh, even the goyim are saying, because of the
They
dust
didn't
and the
say-
dirt
They
and
didn't say he
everything.
didn't have the hair.
Huh?
They didn't. Why was their hair covered?
They were kafirs.
But you see, they don't wear it constantly.
The women had their hair covered.
But they also know if they what's doing with they don't. They didn't dye their hair. They dyed hair for their husbands. Like I don't know.
Okay.
Here it seems to say the Gemara wants to talk about dyeing hair. It
And
finds the old
especially
men's beards.
the red thing, that seems like the easiest way.
Yeah, also the Gemara does that. The Gemara says true. That's what the Gemara says. But the Gemara first went through the knits, tell you what's happening with the knits over there also, and braids. Okay, so I really don't understand the Gemara, but that's we didn't finish the sugi. I'm just going to talk about it again. That so they talk about there's going to be another sheet so far, but just to get the rough copy.
Okay.
New Gemara. So this talks about a regular nazir. There's not a lot of colors here. Interesting. The pasuk that says "Tar lo yavar al rosho." Let's read the pasuk. The pasuk says
Or in-
Tar, it says in Kol Yemei Ned in Israel, reading the pasuk Tar lo yavar al rosho, that he shouldn't have a razor over his head. You read the pasuk alone, you might just think that is the pasuk over here. Any pasuk?
the midbar, was it?
No, I don't have it.
Kol Yimei Neder,
Yeah, here it is.
Nisro, Lo Yavor Al
Al
Rosho.
rosho, ad lo sham. You see this the pasuk over here on the screen. So it says Tar lo yavar al rosho. So the pasuk alone, the Chumash, is going to say that he shouldn't pass a razor over his head. It sounds like it's only also if he's going to use a razor. That's what the Gemara is going to talk about. So we're talking about a regular nazir, nothing complicated now. That a nazir is not allowed to cut his hair, and the question is, what is called cutting his hair? Tana Rabbanan. The Mishnah says that even the scissors and even cutting the edges of his hair is also awesome. It's Chayiv Malkus for doing that. Tana Rabbanan, tar, in the yellow tar. You might think only a razor is awesome. Talash, mirate, sifsik, kol shuminayin. How do you know if he pulled out his hair? Mirate, they say, means he pulled it out from the root even. And sifsik means to cut off the edges. How do you know that it's also included in the issue of cutting his hair? Which is the same pasuk as we just saw a second ago. Here it is again. That the pasuk says that a razor should not pass over his head until finishes the days that he had set aside to Hashem. The growing, he should be holding, or the growing, he should grow his hair. Let his hair grow. So that means that to include more than just a razor. First it says a razor, then it says it should be long hair. That means that he shouldn't cut it in any way. That's what Rabbi Yoshia says. But Rabbi Yonasan argues, if Rabbi Yonasan, no, tar, and the other tar, he holds that stock only yoser if it's a razor. But mirit, tolash, sif say, falshu, potter. Doesn't say mutter, but it says at least potter. What does he do with Rabbi Yoshia's pasuk? Vaksiv kadoshia, which we said a second ago means to be marred by other things also. He learns differently. It doesn't. It's not coming to be marred by more ways of cutting hair and even cutting less hair than a razor. It means when you do a razor, so then there's two things. There's tar lo yaval rosho, that's a lo saseh, a negative commandment. Then it says kadoshia gadol perasal rosho, to tell you there's also a positive commandment. So if he cuts his hair, then he can transgress his two things, and I say and a lo saseh. But it's not coming to be marred by more than a tar. And according to Rabbi Yonasan, it's only yoser to cut his hair with a razor.
The yihiyah, the word yihiyah means there's going to be a lo saseh also.
No, that's not saying. The lo saseh is what it says. Tar lo yaval
Oh, I'm
rosho.
saying there's the lo saseh, and the yihiyah is to include there's going to be an aseh that is
Also,
over.
right, but not that it's coming to say that he's not allowed to do it even with the scissors. It still stays only also with a razor. But when you do with the razor the wrong way, not only is there a lo saseh, there's even an aseh also. Lo saseh
You
v'aseh.
have two
Two
you would
averas.
have two averas.
And the first one of Yoshi says it's coming to say that included in the avera of tar is
Scissors.
also a scissors also. It comes out of machlokes. According to Yoshi, it's only also to shave with a razor. But a razor doesn't mean that he's gonna. It means that he uses the razor against the scalp. That he mamash what I call it a zero. That's what the point of the razor is. Here goes Tanya Idach. I didn't get this so clear, but I'll just try. Maybe we'll correct it tomorrow. Tanya Idach. Another brisa says a different Russia. Tar and the other tar. But it's also going to agree to Rabbi Yoshia that it's also any kind of a tool. Talash mirit sifsei kol shuminayin. How do you know it's also wasa? So the first Rasha said because kadoshia gabel perasal rosha. This Brisa says a little different. Talmud lomar lo yavor al rosho. That it doesn't just say tar. It says tar lo yavor al rosho. The same pasuk. But then not the end of the pasuk. This is the pasuk alone. That it says a razor should not pass over his head. It's coming to be married by anything that passes over his head. Don't pass anything over his head. No utensil at all. So the question is, why does it say tar for? If you're going to say everything is us, it does say that it shouldn't cut any kind of hair. Don't say tar.
That's the end of the brisa.
No, the Bryce continues. If right away you're going to remember everything is us, so why does it say razor? Tar le'av al rosho. What do you say that for? You're going to say le'av al rosho. Why say tar? The answer is for a different Russia. We don't know, but this is all talking about the Isser, that a nazir is not allowed to cut his hair during his nazir. But there's a din that after he finishes the nazir, he's supposed to cut his hair.
Right.
That's what he does by the Beis Hamikdash, and he puts the hair under the
Right.
pot, into the fire. So how do you cut your hair then? How is the nazir supposed to cut his hair at the end of the whole process? That's called Tiglachas Achrona. The pasuk says, Begilach HaNazir Pesach Ol Moed Es Rosh Nizro. Over there it says that he should shave his hair by the Pesach Ol Moed and put it. He's supposed to, in the Torah process, getting out of the Nazir, he's supposed to put his hair into the fire. How much hair? Which hair? How does he cut his hair there? Not in the Isser of cutting his hair, in the mitzvah of cutting his hair. So it doesn't say how you're supposed to do that with a razor. So, and we're going to learn it out from this process. They say it's supposed to be that. So we don't know. So far, the way we read it is, we don't know so far that it's supposed to be with a razor. You might say, by Mitzorah, over there it says by the Torah process of a Mitzorah, it does say to cut his hair with a razor. You can't learn from the Mitzorah. Why not? Top of the next page. She'ain danin kal mechomor lachmir alav. Because which is more chomor? A nazir or Mitzorah? A Mitzorah is more chomor. So even though it says by Mitzorah that he has to cut his hair with a razor, that doesn't give us the privilege to learn to a nazir, which is more kal than a Mitzorah, that should have the same chumrah. Means a kal v'chomrah, you learn out that a kal v'chomrah means that if the kal has a chumrah, the chumrah has a chumrah. But if the chumrah has a chumrah, there's no reason to learn out that the kal has the chumrah.
Wait a minute, I thought this pasuk is about the nazir.
Right, and the Gemara is saying you need a pasuk.
Where
You
to
need-
get the
No, we're saying maybe you don't need a pasuk to tell you how to do the Torah process, because by Mitzorah it says that's how he does the Torah process. The Torah process of a Mitzorah says openly to do with the Torah.
Oh,
And you might think that's enough a source to learn how to nazir also. So you don't need a pasuk to teach you.
Matzora is more,
But the answer is no. Matzah is more homo, so you can't learn how to a nazir. Therefore, you need a pasuk by us to tell you that it should be with the tar. We wouldn't have known it. We don't know yet. So this pasuk now is going to tell you that it should be with the tar. I didn't get the next couple of words, but we'll do it anyway. I'll try to do it together. This Gemara is going to go to, let's knock off, let's to say where it's going to end and see if we can do it. The Lamer of Chizda over here. So the Gemara says in the top line, Rebbe Yomer Ein Etzara. Rebbe says, you don't need, I think, you don't need what you just said at Drasha to teach us that the Tara process should be with a razor.
you don't need a drasha?
You don't need the above drasha to tell you
Okay.
that the tar process is with the razor. You don't need that. Harei Omer tar lo yaval rosho ad melos. That's the pasuk. The pasuk says that now the pasuk means that until he finishes his nazirus, he should not cut his hair with a razor. But the Gemara is saying that look at the whole sentence. Don't cut his hair with a razor until he finishes. HaTorah Amra acham melos. The fact that it says don't cut your hair with a razor until you finish, you could understand that means, but when you do finish, you should cut your hair with a razor. You could learn it just telling you don't cut your hair until you finish, but the fact that it says until you finish, that means that when you do finish, you should cut your hair with a razor. So that shows us that you have to have a razor for the Torah process. I just don't know.
Read it in the pasuk.
You see it in the pasuk. I don't see but everyone's dashing the same pasuk. So everyone's saying that the word, but maybe the Tanakhama, he said that really the pasuk is just talking about Issa. But it's like an unnecessary pasuk. So in main Indian to the Isser, put it by the heter. Rebbe says, you see it in the pasuk itself. The pasuk is saying that don't cut your hair with a razor until you finish. That's mashma. When you do finish, you should cut your hair with a razor. What's this kasha?
That it's talking about the Isser, maybe.
This line I didn't get. There's a machlok. I saw this machlok Rashi. It tells us who the kasha is asking on. Are we asking on Tanakam? Or are we asking on Rebbe? If it's okay, if we leave this last line for next, unless somebody has a shot now, if we can leave it for next time, and we'll just finish up this. That's the end of the Gemara.
There's a new thing about the fact how they're darshaning it.
Amr of Chis is going to start a new point. I don't know what I was going to say so far, but this Faksiv is a kasha we just finished talking about. On kasha on somebody. We just had a machlok is how you learn out that you're supposed to have the tar by the Tara process, but everybody holds so far besides of Yonason. If Yonason says that there's no Isser to cut his hair with a tar, only with the tar. If Yonason said only Isser to cut his hair with a tar, if Yoshi and everybody else said the Tani the also said it's Isser to cut his hair anyway. The question of what do you do with what do you do with what? What do you do with the word tar? That was the kasha that it asked over here. The Bryce at the end asked the kasha, what do you do with the word tar? And it learned out, both according to the Tanakhama and according to Rebbe, everyone was telling you that by the Tara process you have to have a tar. But here the Gemara says something about Lav Lavin. I didn't see it. I didn't see what the list kasha is.
We said something about an asay.
There was asay velosa say before.
Yeah,
no, it was asay if you hold according to Rabbi Yonason. According to Rabbi Yonason, it says only asay betar. It's only also with a razor. There's no way to use a scissor. It's only also with a razor.
But it's going to be
that's also below something. But now we're going the other man down with that. It says it's also with everything. It's also, I think, that it's also with a razor and it's also with regular cable also. No. I don't know what it means.
Okay.
Okay, if it's okay to leave this last line for Motzei Shabbos. Motzei Shabbos 7:30? 7:30.
Yeah. That sounds right.
Okay. Okay, I should go to everybody. Thank you. Thank you.
Have a good Shabbos.
Shabbos, Reuven.
My father-in-law's yard sale today.
Okay.
Any chance I can